want to go? Go ahead. Here. There's a lot of information. Thank you all. I have a question for Mr. Milton. A good deal of your presentation was spent addressing your contention about the Katie Board's decision and the process they used, but can you point us to any authority that we have to review the Katie Board's process? And we're separate school board. I mean, I see our decision as an independent tonight. Do you have any, well, that's my question. Can you point us to any authority that we would have to review Katie's decision?
Well, first of all, you have the same law firm, and their lawyers meet in closed session with each of your boards. And if you look at their proposed findings and you look at your proposed findings, they share the same drawings, the same maps, the same word-for-word conclusions on the ratios. Council added a case tonight, that Swisher case, to overcome my objection in Katie about the inappropriateness of the ratio. And if you give me 1 second, the Denton case showed that 2 findings of fact: the ratio had been met, and none of the children in the affected territory went to the school. And if that were the case, mathematically, the ratio would have had a 0 on the bottom, which is impossible. And then the second case included a definition, and the statute says, in the ratio, the number of students residing in the territory. The 2003 case made a logical leap and started looking at the word membership. But in 2007, the commissioner said, the students residing in the territory include the students going to the public school of interest, any other public school, private schools, and home schools. So the ratio works for us. We meet the law. And so what I was highlighting to you tonight is that under the other legal precedent, the commissioner said that even if the ratios are not met, and in that case they were not met and the parties agreed that they weren't met, it was not the board's prerogative or the district's prerogative to look at the ratio because it had not become right. You are supposed to look at everything else, and that's the educational interest. And so when you make that a part of your denial, and if, let's say we're disagreeing, that's a legal argument.
Well, no,
Let's give that to the commissioner.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Did I answer your question? Did I go far afield?
Well, you want to feel, I was looking for, I didn't see the statute as, I was just asking.
Well, look at the Texas Open Meetings Act.
No,
But
I think you answered my question. I mean,
lawyers can't do that. They can't give you advice about things that are not related to...
Thank you. She said thank you, so
All right.
thank you for your input. Pam, do you have one?
I do have a question, but I'm not sure exactly who to direct it to. It has to do with the 33 students who are currently, at the time of the petition, are in Katy ISD, the 30. So I would like to know, so 9 of the 33 signed the petition. I'm curious what the breakdown as far as grade level or where those 9 are and where do we have any kind of breakdown as to what, I'd like to know if the 24 that did not sign the petition.
Right. Okay, what I can tell you, I don't have that breakdown, but I can tell you this. In our neighborhood, there's a lot of people living there who are not U.S. citizens. It could be because they're expat living there or other reasons. They're not allowed to sign a petition because they're not voters. Now, how many of those are represented by kids that go to Katy, I don't know, but that's part of the number. But to tell you exactly what grade levels all those kids are, I don't know. I will tell you this: we had families who we didn't have to press for people to sign this petition. We got to 62%. So when a family said, well, we're a little undecided, we didn't go back and press. And we know there were some cases where maybe the parents were for it and kids were against it, but we didn't press. So I don't know how many of those 33 are in which grades.
Do you know, as a follow-up, of the 62%, do you know how many of those families have students currently enrolled in KDI? I mean, have students, I mean, like that are,
Well, according to their numbers, it's 9. Have students that are currently in KDIC. There's a lot of families who were represented tonight who have maybe a 3 and a 4-year-old, and they're on the way to KD schools. And we also had, as you know, families speak tonight where their daughters finished.
right, I guess so I should have asked the question, how many children, rather than how many students?
How many children total in our 140 houses?
Or the 62% that signed the petition?
Oh, how many had kids that are
Correct.
Well, there are about 85 children.
85 student-age children?
And we don't have that broken out.
We don't
It's
have
not
that.
necessary.
I was just,
But that's where you get, if you use 85 instead of 33, Katie says, hey, only students that go to Katie count, so we're gonna use 33. That's how they get a ratio that's bad for us, but if you count all the students, you get a ratio that's good for us. And there's about 85 of those. We could ask, how many people here tonight who
Your
are
kids
for
in
this
private school.
have kids, have students?
I teach in private school for this
Informal
time.
number.
that answers my question.
Okay, we are in private school.
Yeah.
I have
Do you have another one?
I do have an additional question, and it's specifically for Brian and is it Colette Cram? Is that correct?
Yeah.
So you currently have students who have been taking advantage of the open transfer policy that Spring Branch offers?
Yes.
And have you, to this date, been satisfied, you, just your nuclear family, with that transfer policy?
It works for me because currently, I'm not a working mom. But I would like to be soon. And then it won't work so well for me because I have to provide transportation for the students. So when you transfer in from another district, you're not offered transportation. And so I believe that a large majority of our community would like to take advantage of it, which is why I spoke on the administration's argument that we have all this choice about we can go to Katy, we can go to Spring Branch. It's not true. And it's very stressful, to say the least, because we have 2 children. And so at any point, maybe there would be space for one and there wouldn't be for the other. And, I actually brought up in my petition that my neighbor across the street tried it. And she got one son in, and then the next year tries to get the other, and it doesn't work. So the
But it's
school
worked
that
for
I'm
your
actually,
family
the
thus
school
far.
that I'm actually going to now is closed. It's a
Right.
closed campus.
I
My
understand.
daughter got in last year,
To
and I
answer your
feel like
question-
I
I
understand
barely
that
made
part.
it.
To answer your question, it works for us now when we know that we're in. It's the most stressful thing leading up to it, and we know that we have 2-day notice where our 2 children could be told, now you have to go to KDISD in the middle of the school year. So it works for now with preferences.
One more question. How many consecutive years have you received that transfer?
2.
You've been
Our son
transferring
has
in
been
for 2 years?
2 years, and our daughter 1 year.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris?
I wanted to follow up on just some transfer questions because I know we have policy here and I want to make sure I clarify. The revocation of a transfer can happen with 2 days' notice, or it can only happen at the end of the school year?
So actually, the law states that a revocation of an out-of-district transfer can only occur, there actually is no revocation anymore, it's just a non-renewal. So we cannot revoke and do not revoke during the course of the school year, but at the end of the school year, should the capacity exceed what we're able to accommodate, their transfer could get non-renewed for the next school year.